Hello everyone, and welcome to Star Wars The Old Republic 2.7 has launched today. Woohoo! So I'm here on my Sorcerer, and today we're going to look at Lightning Spec. So a few changes been made to Lightning Spec. This is my build now. I mean, I used to have shut up, Treek. Okay. So what we did was I made a few changes to this build. Again, I used to put points in crit. Used to always put points in kind of seeping darkness. I've changed it for disintegration because we no longer need affliction to crit. That's one of the biggest changes. Affliction critting basically procced our lightning barrage. So the changes to Lightning Barrage are lightning strikes that hit a target affected by a reflection of 100% chance to grant Lightning Barrage. So if we look at the training dummy, we use Affliction and then we put Lightning Strike. There you go, instantly procs, and we also get the proc on that. So there we go. Ticks twice as fast because the normal time, we'll show you the normal. Normally it's 2.9 seconds. And it deals damage over that. But if we hit Affliction and we hit Lightning Strike, we get it in half the time. Pretty nice. 100% of the time this works. Can only occur once every 10 seconds. We can't just spam it. Makes sense, I guess. Right, so the other big change has come to Lightning Storm. Lightning Strike, Thundering Blast, and Force Storm grant Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm reduces the cooldown, or removes the cooldown, should I say, of Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning, if we use Chain Lightning without the proc, we'll see it's 2.9 seconds. Far too long a time. But if we use Chain Lightning, we can use it instantly. Chain Lightning, very good AOE. Very good part of our rotation. So that's pretty good every single time. 10 seconds. We've got to wait 10 seconds. So if we wait 10 seconds, we use it now, we should get it. There we go. So there we go, it procs 100% of the time. But again, there is a small cooldown, small 10-second cooldown, yeah. Cannot occur more than once every 10 seconds, and again, this is every 10 seconds. So let's have a look at our rotation then. Our rotation for Lightning is always pretty easy. We would always open with Crushing Darkness. Crushing Darkness is one of our key abilities. Now I feel that we should open... what we want to do for the spec is get our procs up, get our relic up, and then hit all our procs very quickly. That's our goal really for the pool. At the pool we're gonna go for that. And for God's sake, Treek, stop bashing that poor target dummy. It's getting annoying. So what we want to do is shut up, Treek. That tweet that. I'm gonna shut this up. Let's shut Treek up. Go away. We're in combat. Right, I'm gonna run away over here. It's getting... the little furball's getting on my nerves. Is there any way we can get out of combat with a training dummy? I mean, we're not a stealth class, we'll just run away. There we go. Go away. Yeah, you as well. I regret buying that little furball. But I was getting sick of Chem as a tank, so I thought I'd try Treek. There we go. Now we're back here. Right, now we've got rid of that furball distracting us. We can go into... talk about gearing in a sec, but the thing I want to mention is I tend to use with Lightning Spec 2 proc relics. These are the Conqueror ones. I'm going to update these later on. We can buy the Oboran ones now. So we do want... probably going to get the 2 Oboran ones, so we're going to get, again, 125 primary stat. Healing an ally performing a damage attack grants 125 of your primary stat. Again, with the Oboran ones, I think it's, 600 of our primary stat. And again, this one is the same, only it adds power 435 power for 6 seconds. Again, these will get upgraded, but just for demonstration purposes. So we used to always, pre 2.7, used to always open with Crushing Darkness. Crushing Darkness, again, nice little dot that we had. We always used to pre-cast it. While the tank's running in, Crushing Darkness was casting. Trying to get, the problem with this is, the problem with doing Crushing Darkness is if our relics proc, because we want to line everything up nicely with our relics now, basically if we get a relic proc on Crushing Darkness, it's going to be a bit of a hurry. It's going to push us a little bit out of that sweet spot that we get with our relics. Tend to go on the power relic right now, with the Arcanian or Conquerors tend to go on the power relic. It used to be, I don't know, 640 main stat we get from the Oboran ones. PvP relics are usually good to get because they are cheap, relatively cheap. They only cost what, 700 Warzone comms. Fairly cheap, fairly easy. As soon as we hit 55 we can get 2 decent relics. The Arcanian ones we have to do Oricon for. The Arcanian ones only gave us 95 main stat. That was why I tend to go for the Conquerors. They give you more passive stats, but the activated ability, I tend to prefer 2 proc ones for this. They both can proc at the same time. We can have the double proc on both willpower and of course our power. So again, we can use these, and we can use these for healing and DPS, which is good. We want to try a bit of healing, so we're trying to Crushing Darkness up. We'll get our procs up. Hopefully we get a relic up. And we're going to go Polarity Shift and see if we can get everything in under our relic. And there you go, we got everything in under our relic. That was our goal, our basic opening rotation. We'd have liked to, there goes the power relic now. Typical. So what we tend to do is we tend to go open with Affliction, then we go Lightning Strike, and then we go Polarity Shift. Polarity Shift gives us 20% alacrity, then we get Thundering Blast, and then it's Chain Lightning, Force Lightning, whatever order you want really for those two, because we want to get those two proccing up. The reason we go with Polarity Shift is because we want to get our Thundering Blast off right away. Again, no change to Thundering Blast. Affliction still causes it to auto crit. So Affliction is the key. So again, we get Affliction up. We fire off our Lightning Strike. We fire off Thundering Blast. There goes our Power Relic. Ooh, bit of lag there. And there we go. We got it all in under the Power Relic. We got 6 seconds for that Power Relic. So that's our basic kind of heavy burst rotation. We got that all in without Polarity Shift, but using Polarity Shift is recommended. You want to keep that on cooldown. We want to keep Thundering Blast on cooldown. But because we can guarantee these procs, again, it makes our rotation that little bit easier. Because again, we can just go... Oops, went in the wrong order there. Never mind. You can even do it in this order. But we do always want our Power Relic, or at least one relic up when we use Thundering Blast. That's our key. That is the most damage. That is our best single target damage, is Thundering Blast. So we'll try it with Crushing... Oh, we're at combat. We'll try it with Crushing Darkness. Crushing Darkness, Affliction. So there we go, we got our Power Relic up. And you see our Power Relic is gone using Crushing Darkness. If we get Polarity Shift, it will help us. So we'll try that again. See if we can get all of our relics up. We got 20 seconds of waiting now, so we'll get our Crushing Darkness. Oh, come on, stop. Ah, stupid evasion thing. It's quite annoying. Using this as a targeting dummy, not the best thing to do with this. So we'll get our Affliction up. And then we'll get a Crushing Darkness, then we'll get... Oh, wrong button. Polarity Shift. Ah, we can't manage it on our Power Relic. Oh, what happened there? Yeah, so it's trying to fit that in. That's our basic goal, is to try and fit all of our procs in under one of our relics. That's going to give us some nice damage. That would be the goal for this. Polarity Shift is going to use it. We can also use Recklessness as well. Probably best put Recklessness in. somewhere. We want to keep Recklessness on cooldown, so we want to probably go Crushing Darkness, Recklessness, Lightning Strike. The problem with Recklessness is that, again, it's consumed by our Thundering Blast, which is a bit of a waste. Recklessness increases our crit chance by 60% and increases the range of Force Lightning. We don't really care about range, to be honest with you. So we don't really care about our range because there's no bosses in 2 Point, in Dread Fortress, Dread Palace, or really Scum and Villainy or TFB that really require us to be at max range. That's why I tend not to put points into this one. Lightning Spire, increasing the maximum range. There's no real bosses that require us to be there. That's one of the things that we get. I mean, this spec, again, it's decent. Good burst damage. Again, good prolonged damage that we can get. Our rotation's fairly simple. Just involves keeping Affliction up. Don't worry about overlapping with Affliction. That's one thing I would tell you about Affliction is don't worry about it because we don't really care about Affliction's damage, to be honest. Who cares about the damage of Affliction, really? That's the thing, it's just there to proc things. So we don't really care. Crushing Darkness, again, our rotation, our filler ability is always going to be Lightning Strike. We're always going to be spamming that. That's going to be our main kind of spammable. And you can see we get our Conduction up. Our Conduction occurs when Lightning Strike hits twice, which it has a chance to do. Again, 3 stacks of Conduction, we always want that. Increases our force bonus damage. So again, Lightning Strike, Crushing Darkness whenever it's available we use. So this is our downtime. Our downtime, we're just going to be waiting for Thundering Blast to cool down. We're always going to keep Affliction up. We're going to get our Thundering Blast off. Always using when this procs. So you want to always use Chain Lightning when it procs. Again, Force Lightning when it procs. We know we can make it proc. We know it's going to proc every 10 seconds. We know that this is 8 seconds. We're going to be critting every 8 seconds. Right, so we're going to be critting every 8 seconds with this. So we're always going to keep... Affliction is, what, 18 seconds. So we can get at least 2 of them in before we need to we can get at least 2 Thundering Blasts in. We know that we can get 2 Thundering Blasts in before we need to refresh Affliction. So do that every 2 Thundering Blasts is good advice. I mean, this is a nice, easy spec to play. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but again... Simple spec to play, very easy. Again, Crushing Darkness, keep it on cooldown, spamming Lightning Strike, using your procs whenever we have them, trying to line them up with the relic is a good idea. Because again, we've got our relics. If you have the activated relics, again, you can activate them at the pool. For gearing this character, again, our priority is accuracy. Hitting the accuracy cap is our first priority. So we're looking at power accuracy mods are the basic things that we're looking at. What the hell is with these 180, 168? Oh, they've taken away the... Oh, we've removed the 72 requirement. So it's now known as 180. What the hell is this? Oh, it's Treek's gear. It's a set of gear for Treek. That's what we got. That's interesting. So it's 180 is now best in slot. So our priority is getting accuracy to cap. The accuracy cap is 110% force accuracy. That is our cap. Just ignore melee accuracy. We don't have any melee attacks. So we're in 110. This character, nearly there. We're nearly there. Got a few things. Got a few 78 things with accuracy in them. The head and the chest are generally our priorities. Offhand as well tends to be our priority. So we're not calling the gear 72 gear anymore. We've taken that away. We're now calling it 180. That's going to be interesting to get to know. That's interesting. That's a new change. 168 is 72. I always refer to it as 72 because 72, 78 was easier to say than 168. I suppose 180 sounds like more. It's more than 72. So again, our priority for this is accuracy. Accuracy, get your accuracy up to 110% force. Power tends to be everything. We want power in everything. Power, accuracy. Next most important off stat is surge. Again, we have that auto crit. We know Thundering Blast is going to crit. So again, surge, 69% surge. I need to work on his surge. I'm working on accuracy first with this character. Not the best gear. This is my newest 55, so we're not the best geared yet. So again, surge probably between maybe 72 and 75% surge is a good place to be. After that, we tend to go power, alacrity. So the rest of the things are going to be alacrity. Alacrity does have some benefit to us. I mean, again, it's going to reduce the cast time, particularly Thundering Blast, which was a 2-second cast time. I've got it down to 1.9. So again, I tend to take alacrity in the skill tree. Skill tree, we go Force Weaver, alacrity by 2%. Again, it helps us out. The off-spec skills, again, Calcify, increasing the damage dealt by Shock, Lightning Storm, Affliction, and Creeping Terror. We are going to be using Shock. Shock we don't really use a lot. Shock tends to be used on the move. If we have to move and zap things. If ever we're moving, we just use Shock. That's when we tend to use Shock. But again, we're going to be using Lightning and Affliction. So again, increasing its damage is what we want, really. Again, if we're gonna use Lightning, Force Lightning, we're using it with the proc, increasing its damage by 6%. Can't hurt us. Willpower is our main stat. I want that. Increasing the critical chance of Force Lightning and Lightning Strike by 6%. Again, we're going to be using Force Lightning and Lightning Strike in our rotation, so why not? The reason, again, used to never really bother with this thing here, used to always put points into Seeping Darkness, because the main thing we wanted to crit isn't that important in this spec. It used to only need crit. The only thing we needed to crit was Affliction, because Affliction's crit was the proc for Lightning. But now it doesn't have to, because again we can just use Affliction with Lightning Strike and we get the proc on it. So again, we know we can guarantee the proc now without using crit. So crit is probably the least important stat for Lightning spec. Again, we just want to increase crit by 1%. The things we want to crit, Lightning Strike and Force Lightning, we want them to crit, so we'll use the skill tree for that. We'll use our little disintegration, put points into there. They're the only real abilities that we really want to crit. We don't care anymore. We don't care about Affliction critting anymore, because we don't have to. Now, so that's our basic single target rotation. AOE, let's talk about AOE. Our AOE rotation, fairly easy. Again, our main AOE ability is Force Storm. Let's pop that out there. And Chain Lightning. So basically, you pop Force Storm. Yeah, and this is the other new change for 2.7. If we just put the mouse over the target and we double tap, we can put it right where we are, where the mouse is. So if we put the mouse over there and double tap it, oh, it only goes to the target, what we have targeted. So if we target ourselves and double tap it, it goes on us. That's the new thing, that we don't need to place AoE. So we can place the AoE, tap it once, place the AoE if we have the target training dummy, and we'll double tap the button, and we get, that's quite nice, quite useful for us again for AoE. So we just have to target one thing, double tap it, and we get Force Storm. Force Storm and then Chain Lightning tend to stop Force Storm. Stopping Force Storm for Chain Lightning is always what we want. Again, we've not got the proc on that. Oh, there it goes. So we just stop Force Storm. Quite a good AoE class. We're just gonna go with Force Storm. I quite like that change. I like that change. Good change. It just saves us a little bit of time. It saves us placing it on the target, rather than we can just target the thing and double tap. Double tap the key. Control 5 I've got. Well, control one of the mouse. Control is bound to one of my mouse buttons, so I just have to hold down that mouse button and double tap 5 basically. Pretty easy stuff. Pretty easy stuff for us. I like that change. Really like. That's all for AOE. AOE is very simple. Just lightning, force storm, and chain lightning. Again, force storm procs chain lightning, so we don't have to worry about casting it. Again, we could probably use recklessness with it. Can we use recklessness with force storm? We can use it. Yeah, we can. And then chain lightning. There you go. You can pop recklessness if you really want it to crit. If you want that to crit. Again, recklessness is another reason that we don't go with crit in this spec. Crit's not really necessary. Crit more for madness spec. Madness. Oh, madness. Pointless now, really, isn't it? Now that we've got all these cool things. Be good in PvP. That chain lightning thing is gonna. Not chain lightning. The force storm thing is gonna be pretty cool. I like that. That is awesome. That is so awesome in 2.7. So that was the Sorcerer. That was some of the changes we looked at. There's no real changes. The only other change is we're now immunity from pushbacks and interrupts there. If we pop our shield on, so when our shield wears off, we're going to get Enduring Bastion. I don't know what it's called. Is it Enduring Bastion is what it's called on the Sage. So we're going to get a buff when this wears off. Wears off in another 18 seconds. Can we just get it off? No, it doesn't work. No, still got the debuff. So we'll get a little buff that again makes us immune to... It makes us immune to interrupts, basically. So it's more of a PvP thing. We're covering this from a PvE perspective, not really a PvP endgame. But although I'm going to have to go do some PvP actually. Let's go check the Warzone comms. Oh, I only need 50 to get the Alboran relics. I think, are they still 700? I haven't checked. Yeah, I just came straight here to do this little DPS guide again. Very good DPS, very good utility, can serve as an off healer. Again, we can do off healing. We've got our pretty decent defensive cooldowns. Although Bubble is kind of pointless if we still want to do damage. Bubble is probably one of the most powerful, probably is the most powerful defensive cooldown in the game. But it's not really useful in PvE. It grants us all immunity. So you get Enduring Bastion. Is Enduring Bastion not? Enduring Bastion is after our barrier. Ooh. That's going to be useful for immunity to interrupts in PvP. So basically, Bubble, we're immune to all damage while we're in this. If we're healer spec, we get heals over time. So there is Enduring Bastion. Unshakable, cannot be interrupted. There you go, that's going to help you out in PvP. Again, maybe make Lightning the spec for PvP now. Because again, Polarity Shift does make us immunity to interrupts and pushbacks, which is good. Again, that was always our problem in PvP with Lightning, was that it took too long to cast. Our cast times were too long. So we were always vulnerable. We were always vulnerable to interrupts. We were always vulnerable, again, every class is vulnerable to stuns, but we were always vulnerable to being interrupted. Now, they tweaked that a little bit. Lightning may become the spec, and poor Madness. Poor Madness. It's boring. Boring as hell, Madness. It really is. It's the same as the Assassin one, only you can stand at range. Talked about Madness. Madness is the dot spec. But again, Lightning is just the way to go these days. Lightning, again, is always going to win. Corruption's the healing spec. But Madness is just... It's just kind of boring. It's all about keeping your dots up, keeping your death field up, getting that death mark. Death mark, again, increases the periodic damage. We use Force Lightning, again, to augment that, our damage. We tend to just be spamming Force Lightning a lot of the time. But I always think this is much more fun. Lightning is much more fun. We got a nice big auto crit in Lightning spec. But then again, that's really all for us this time. So we covered Lightning spec. We covered Lightning. Lightning, I say, is the way to go. And again, this is a good class for ops, I would say. A good beginner class as well. If you're a beginner, if you're new to operations, the Sorcerer is pretty nice, especially if you're doing the Dread Fortress, Dread Palace. They've got some nice abilities there. Again, they've got their cleanse, self cleanse. We can use expunge, so we can always use that for our nerf a hard mode fight. So we're not a liability to healers. We've got our own self heal, we've got unnatural preservation, we've got static barrier which absorbs some damage, we've got our bubble, although our bubble not great in PvE to be honest, because we can't really do damage while our bubble's up, we can't move while our bubble's up. We tend to bubble as the kind of last resort. Bubble in PvP works out pretty nicely, I would suggest. So I'm going to go buy myself some relics and maybe get myself barrel crafted for my bounty hunter. So thank you for joining me. Next time I'm going to cover the mercenary. We're going to cover the mercenaries changes. We're getting exciting mercenary DPS changes. We're getting barrage. Oh yes, barrage. We'll talk about barrage soon. So thank you for joining me for this little video covering the 2.7 changes to lightning specs. Thank you for joining me and see you soon and goodbye.